Now remember, it's a horror movie. Now as a movie, a regular movie, it's pretty good. As a horror movie, it's terrible. You have to wait.
Where am I?
Okay. Hello. So, welcome to What the Flicks podcast, episode 82. 82? Yeah, 82. I'm Susan Ayers.
I'm Lon Shima.
I'm Patty Smith.
Jorge Sanchez.
Yeah, as you can see, Patty's joining us by Zoom today. She's a busy girl, places to go, people to see. So, our movies this week are Paint, Sinners, Kneecap, Penguin Lessons, and Fandango. This week, we'll be doing Patty's movie. Patricia.
Hello, my movie is The Sinners. And it's considered a horror movie. And I've been waiting. The hype for this has really been built up. It's a great horror movie. And Michael B. Holden's in it. It was written and directed by Ryan Coogler,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay. So it's about two brothers in like 1932 who decide to return to their home in Mississippi. I kind of start at the Speakeasy. Now remember, it's a horror movie. Now as a movie, a regular movie, it's pretty good. As a horror movie, it's terrible. You have to wait 50 minutes for anything to even happen. So you kind of forget. There's no build-up. You know, there's certain criteria to have a good horror movie. And this movie didn't have any of it. And that's what I kept going, where the hell is where's the damn vampire? You know what I mean? So no, and even the vampires weren't good. I mean, 30 Days of Night to me is a great vampire movie. Vampires are scary. It's tense. The music's good. The music in this was like for a musical. It wasn't for a horror movie. Huh?
No, I was just going to say, I love the music.
No.
I'm sure that's what we're going to do later.
Yes, but for a movie, not for a horror movie.
Well, you know what, Patty? Somebody had mentioned, I think it was George. He said it almost seems like this movie was made to be a musical.
Yes, because it sure as hell wasn't a vampire movie until the last 10 minutes. And if that's a what do you call it, a blooper? Last 10 minutes, people. And so I was super disappointed in it, and it got overhyped. But as a movie, just a regular movie, it should have been made either into a musical after those initial 15 minutes, or just a movie, and it wasn't.
Well,
so it was a really even when the vampires come in, it's a real letdown because they're not scary, they're not believable. You know, you just
as opposed to those realistic vampires.
When you're doing a horror movie, and I don't care what time, what year it is, you know, garlic kills vampires. Steak in the heart kills vampires.
Well, they were eating garlic, remember?
Right. Well, it lasted, but you know what I mean? Even when they fought them, it was like, come on, boys, get it together, right? But, no, it was a real big disappointment, I gotta say.
Am I next? I guess
Who's next?
George.
Hey, yeah, my friend Nosferatu says that they weren't real vampires. No, actually, I did enjoy it. But I really like that time period. I thought the music was great because I love all kinds of music, you know, when they mix it
I
all
love
up.
that music.
And how they went from Americana to blues to they really mixed it up. And there's one scene where, because in the movie there's one. The one of the point is that there's something about music, and if somebody has that gift, they can bring the present and the past back.
All the worlds together.
Yeah. And there's one scene where and apparently in this movie it seems like this guitar player has that. It kind of like the kind of like Crossroads. What's the guitarist and
Richard.
Or even forget Crossroads. Even the Coen Brothers one. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
When they have that guitar player and waiting in the Crossroads too. And it's,
Right.
Robert Johnson.
Robert
right?
Johnson.
Yeah.
Robert Johnson.
So
yeah.
and the kid in this movie is like a Robert Johnson. He has the gift. And there's one scene where he's playing. Here's my favorite scene in the movie, and he brings like you see the African
Yes.
dancer.
Yeah, yes,
Do you see
exactly.
that? Because there's some Asian dancers too.
Right.
You even see a guitar player with a like futuristic, like from the moon playing.
Well,
Yeah,
like-
but George, it's a vampire movie.
Well,
You're
there's-
not supposed to be focusing on that.
the thing is that I think one thing is I think they threw too much at you. Because they were they just gave you so much at once that I thought it would have been a great movie if it was a great movie if it was more like a voodoo kind of movie, like bringing in the voodoo spirits.
Should have been voodoo.
But
Voodoo.
but the two things that did, which I didn't mind the vampires too much, but they could have made them a little more mysterious, like Jerry Dandridge. So Friday Night, Chris Random. So but I like that. There's certain elements where I like that the time period that they have some voodoo thing with one of the brothers' ex-wife.
Right.
I like that you see the Native Americans pop up because they already know. They know there's bad spirits out there, and I like how mystical it is too. The Native Americans always know there's some bad spirits, bad juju over here, so we gotta take care of it. So I like how they mix all the different cultures and everything, and then but once it's not a spoiler, it's a vampire movie. Once the vampires pop up, there's certain things that I thought really clever, like the old, which at that time period they have no idea yet, like they need to be invited to come in. And they're like, come on, let me in. So, where did you come in? Come on, just let me in. So there's certain things. And the other part, like I thought it started to go a little too Rambo me towards the end. I thought there was certain scenes in the end that I thought I did not need, because now I feel like I'm watching 3 separate movies. I'm watching a period piece, which could have been great with voodoo and everything, like the witches of Mayfair Witches or something like that.
Right.
And then there's and then I'm watching musical
Right.
too, and also but the funny vampires, and then I get to Rambo, so it's like it makes they were throwing too much at me, but I still enjoyed the movie, and to me the music was amazing, and then of course when you see who the guitar player ends up being in the end, it's like oh look at that,
You're
so
such
nice.
a guitar player, George. You focus totally on the
Yeah.
guitar.
And here's another thing though, as a musician, I always look to see if they're playing, and that guy was playing. Because
The kid.
Oh, the young boy.
he was playing. Because the first thing I noticed is if they're doing the right chords, the right shapes, and he was playing.
Wow.
I was supposed to Ralph Mashal, who I was like, I wanted to slap him when I was watching the thing. No. Anyways, so in Crossroads. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay. The music was amazing. I mean, it really was.
For a musical.
I think it has potential. Anyways, I was saying to Patty, I've never watched a vampire movie that had a little tear in my eye at the end of it. I've never really experienced that.
Oh wow.
Which because it was actually like another movie we were discussing today. This movie is chock full of ambience of the Mississippi Delta, and this is a kind of a deep vampire movie. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of deep for a vampire movie. Why are they sinners? Everything that they're trying to do is something good for the hardworking people. That they that the two twins are trying to do, and that's both played. The twins are both. They're not really twins; they're nephews, but they're actually played by the same guy, Michael B. Jordan.
Well, they claim to be cousins.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
but it's actually
Yeah.
people are always saying, "Are you twins?"
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right. And make some money. They're trying to make people happy and make some money. So,
Well, basically, yeah. Picture them. They're just trying to join. They just want to open a juke joint where people come to have fun. There's good music. There's good food, and there's and alcohol.
yeah,
That's
and
all.
they want to
then,
make
like I said,
money,
and
and
they
that's
figured
good.
they'd make money.
And
Exactly.
these are all people they grew up with. So it's kind of like,
So family.
And people
Yeah.
who still work on plantations.
yeah, and so it's kind of like, so why? I thought it gave a good thing. Why are they sinners? I mean, there is that thing.
Oh, because before they went to Mississippi, they had done horrendous things, supposedly.
Well, they
Right,
work
in
for-
Chicago.
The movie, huh?
Yeah,
Like
they-
in Chicago. Remember,
yeah.
they went to Chicago.
So Al Capone.
But isn't that what
Exactly.
they wanted to call the club?
What?
Sinners?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe the movie's referring
Yeah,
to the
but
club.
it- but
Oh,
it-
Well, plus
is.
the blues music,
Oh, yeah.
and the jazz. That's
Yeah.
sort of what people.
And,
Because we're all
and
sinners.
remember,
Yeah.
it starts with It starts with
The
this
church.
guy, this young man running into the church
Was-
with a handle of his.
It starts with the end and goes back. You know,
Yeah,
they do
it
that in
starts at
movies.
the end and goes back. And the thing is that they keep trying to get him to repent from playing. This is his father. His father is the minister, right? And he's like, you have to repent. And he's just kind of all battered, and he's just dealt. And you don't know why, but they're like, you have to repent, but it's like you have to stop playing the blues. You have to start, doing like a normal thing, kind of thing. And he just he so I had a whole time, it's like, why are they sinners? They're actually trying to redeem themselves, actually, right? The twins. Yeah, everybody's trying. So I didn't quite understand that. But there was somebody I'd like to mention in this movie, was Wumi Musaku
Yes.
as Annie.
Yeah.
She was standout for me.
Yes,
She
yes,
was
yes.
like, what a character. She was like,
Mhm.
when you think of the Mississippi Delta, you would think of this character, this woman.
Who?
The
Annie, she was the
Annie.
hoodoo
She
practitioner.
was the
Oh,
voodoo
yeah,
woman.
right.
Practitioner, yeah.
Not just her physical presence, and believe me, it was quite awesome, her physical
But
presence.
she's Nigerian.
Yeah, she's
so-
African, yeah. But her character, Annie,
Yeah, she had
was
a great,
magnetic.
She was great.
It
Well,
was-
she was very earthy.
Yeah, but
She just really represented
but she had
earthiness.
so much pain.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
and she really was able to make you feel that
Mhm.
about her.
Oh,
So
very much so. In fact, a couple, I don't know if there's a spoiler, but see, at the beginning, you find out that she and who was it? Was it
it's
is it Stack or wait? It's
one of the twins.
okay.
Is it Stick?
Smoke. It was Smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke is sort of to me the main guy.
Right.
Okay. It was his ex kind of girlfriend. He comes back and
I
asks
think-
her to help him out
Yeah.
at the thing, but then you find out they did have a child together, but then the child died.
And that's
You know.
caused their relationship to
Exactly.
fall apart.
And then that's what I'm saying. There's a lot, what she says, like you said, her pain about that, and even the future of her character, even she brings up that too. And I thought, you're right. That was sort of a great
Yeah,
character.
she kind of
That's
knew.
not in horror movies. They don't go into that kind of detail.
This is
Well,
a deep
okay,
horror
this is
movie.
what I said.
Exactly.
Also, the writer and director, Ryan Coogler, is a great storyteller. He tells a story, and I thought he told a great story. He had me riveted.
Well, he did-
And I don't like vampire
We
movies.
did Creed, was it? And Black Panther, was it?
Yeah. Okay. That's why I said this is a vampire movie that's a cut above horror movies. It's a good movie,
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but it's a bad horror movie. So it doesn't count.
are you saying I don't know, work for me.
Okay, my next movie is going to be 30 Days of Night.
Okay.
And you're going to hate it, but you're going to cry at the end.
I was like, so that's 30 Days and a Half Midnight in Paris?
Because I agree with you, Patty. Because what's funny is that the only reason I saw this movie, I went to the theater to see this, so it's been a couple months, but it's only because, first of all, it's getting great reviews, and my friends were
Yeah.
telling me how much they enjoyed this movie. Now, you are a true horror fan. I know you.
Right.
I know that's your genre. But when I was watching this movie, I sort of knew what was going to be in it. In fact, seeing the trailer, I thought, oh, this reminds me of like From Dusk Till Dawn. That.
I said
I
that
know,
too.
right.
Yeah, because I thought,
Yeah.
oh yeah, because of that and everything.
Because it happens in one night.
Well, right, but it's like, what did we walk into? All of a sudden, you're in this
Right.
situation, and then, like I said, then all of a sudden we have the Rambo fights at the end, right? But then, I started watching it, and like you said, the opening about the kid with the guitar and the son telling him to repent, and you think, then they flash to that day. Because basically, it's just 24 hours before that, basically, where it's like you see Sammy, and you're right. I think Sammy's a really great character because he's the guitar player. He's a young kid. He's their a cousin. He's related to Smoke and Stack,
Yes.
right? Just by
Right.
cousin. So, but these are guys, like you said, they were sort of gangsterish because
Yeah.
they also had that reputation because they brought quote unquote the beer from Chicago, which you think
Irish
did they-
beer.
right? But did
Mm-hmm.
they steal it or did they buy it? You wonder because you realize they were hooked up somehow.
Well, they were with Al
organized
Capone.
crime, exactly, right?
So I'm sure that it,
But then once, see, this is the thing. Then they go to the. Well, I think Smoke drives into the town. So then it's like, okay, here's beer in my truck. Now, this is what I thought was fascinating because they're sort of, you could tell they're in a black neighborhood, right? Because you can see there's one shop for white people, then across the street, there's a shop for black people. But what's even more interesting, the shop for black people is run by Chinese people, right?
Yes.
And I'm always thinking, oh my God, is this sort of a contemporary kind of commentary, right? Even though it's taking place in 32 about today's society. Like, that's why even Spike Lee Do the Right Thing. There's always like the Korean family that has a grocery store in the black community.
That's interesting.
You
know?
don't put these things in a horror movie.
Well, that's the thing. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, what are they talking about now? But then it's very telling to me with his character when he talks to this little girl, says, hey, I want you to watch my truck, okay? If anyone comes by, this and that. But then he teaches her a lesson of how to negotiate to get more money. And so I said, that's the fascinating part. That's reminded me sort of the Nipsey Hussle thing, where he was helping the community and he was trying to teach young black kids, even though they weren't really educated, how to sort of better themselves to be in society in a
Yes,
way.
I felt that's what he was doing.
Right, that he's helping. And I thought, okay, this is a really fascinating movie. So now, okay, I'm with you. Is like, this isn't really a horror movie. And that's, I think, the mistake that if they marketed it that way, which is they did, was the problem. They should have just said, no, this is a sort of a movie about people stepping up when something gets complicated and how communities work and who's going to take control of the community. Because it's also very telling, because like I said, they open the juke joint, and all of a sudden, the quote unquote vampire is a white person, right? And like George said at the beginning, he's running away from Native Americans. He runs into this household where he tells this woman, these people are after me, you got to hide me.
Yeah.
He's white, they're white.
And they're Ku Klux Klan, actually.
And then, right. And then, like I said, they're Native Americans. And he's even warned, did somebody come in here? Did somebody? And he says, you have to let me know because this is dangerous. He's warning her. You have no idea. And then all of a sudden you hear the guy in the background say, oh, sun's going down. We got to get out of here. And I thought, okay, see, the vampire element that I know of is being introduced. So you know something's wrong, right?
They're Choctaw.
So then by the time when Smoke and Stack recruit everyone, the musician, the bartenders, they even get the Chinese people to help them out, you know, with the bar, the food. Even another person that they had business dealings with where he didn't even like them, but even the wife is saying, well, how much money are you going to make? So go with them and make money, right? To be the bouncer. So it's like, I'm just sort of fascinated by, like you said, they're doing something for the community.
Yes.
And that's the fascinating part, right? Then, of course, what comes in, of course, oh, the white people want to come in. And they immediately say no. Now, they do point out to another woman who basically is a very, very light-skinned, I'm assuming she's just light-skinned African-American, or is she white? Because I didn't even understand that.
Maybe mixed, huh?
She's
Right.
light-skinned.
Right.
But
But
was
she's
black.
related.
She's part of that family.
She's related, right?
Yeah.
So, because what is his name? Remick. Remick is the name of the main vampire guy.
Right.
He says, well, how come she's in there? And then, like I said, Annie says, oh, because she's family. Right. So then it's like, oh, see, it is getting to this racial divide. But then Remick actually goes on and makes this wonderful commentary about, oh, but, you know, we're not like that, you know, because even at the beginning when Smoke and Stack actually buy this place, it's from a white person. They give him the money and said, look, and don't try to extort us money and don't have, you know, we see any Klan people show up, you know, we're going to challenge you. And again, it's everything about that society at that time. I'm thinking, God, this is really hitting the mark. So I'm being sucked in just by that drama. In fact, it's weirdly enough, it's when everything goes to the horror side, right? That's when the drama is sort of lost on me. And like I said, it becomes more of an action horror film, and who do you believe and who's what. Another fascinating aspect of it has to deal with Sammy and his music, as George had said, the fact that it encompasses all the world, that they sort of want him like that. Now that's fascinating too, right? because of course you open up, if you can get the whole world to listen to you or open up the world, then we will own the world.
He's the one that vampires are want.
Exactly.
They're-
And what I think is really fascinating though is the fact that, like I said, as other people start turning, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're black, it doesn't matter. And he says, in fact, we'll probably go after those Klan people, because once you become a vampire, basically he's thinking you become one of us. So
Yeah.
you're all one community,
We're one-
regardless of race or sex or age, whatever, right?
and we're really
This is
powerful.
such
Yeah.
a 2025 movie. They have to bring in every
Yeah.
like social, what do you call it?
Issue?
Yeah. No. And, but
Instant- it just kills
Yeah.
the movie.
well, see, that's for me. That's why I said that's what made the movie for me personally.
Oh,
But
there you go.
I would not think it as a horror film. In fact, that's why I said I think they really mismarketed this film, but I understand why it's so popular. I think like even like Rotten Tomatoes, 90 something critics,
Seven.
90 something audience. I mean, audiences and critics like this movie because I think it's the movie.
It's a
But
very
if you go in thinking, "Oh, I want to see this vampire movie," you are going to be sorely disappointed,
Right.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
really.
Also, I think I'm sorry. I mean,
Yeah.
the vampire does make a great point that because it's about groups that are being treated a certain way, and
Mhm.
it says basically telling him we become one group, and we're a really powerful group. Don't you want to be? That's the invitation. Don't you want to be part of us? We really be a group that nobody touches, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. 'cause
Yes,
you
but
have the
George,
power.
it's a social consciousness theme that I do not want in my horror movie.
it's
Well,
like
like-
it's
a
like
movie.
it's like watching a love story in the middle of a war film or something like
Yeah.
that. You know,
Well, and that's the thing, because there are times where it's like, oh, it's sort of horrific. The fact that Annie is the hoodoo priestess, she's the one who first literally identifies. She knows exactly what they are, so she sort of knows how to fight them, which I thought, oh, great. And again, very. I hate to use the term cliche or stereotype, but of vampire legends. So when she does something that's sort of to fight off someone, it's like, oh wow, that was sort of interesting. And then it's like, oh, she knows. She actually knows. In fact, I think she actually uses the term vampire in the movie, right? That one time, and that's it. So I actually thought it was very entertaining, very fascinating. I thought every aspect of it, and I have to admit though, it also had two endings, in my opinion, and I liked the way both
yeah,
endings
right.
hit. And I will say this: I think Michael B. Jordan playing both these characters excellent. I
Yeah.
think that performance. I mean, he really created, in my opinion, two different characters. Because Stack was, for example, the one that was going around with the young musician and all this, and he had more of the charm and like more friendlyship, where Smoke seemed to be he's
The
the
thug,
Business.
exactly right.
Mm.
And even when they discussed money, it was sort of fascinating because another thing they brought up, which I like too, is the whole thing about we're getting plantation money and then we get real cash.
Yeah.
So they're even thinking on business terms. I thought, see, there's something that's going on in this movie that I really enjoy.
There was
So I liked it a lot, Patty, but I understand why people, if you want a horror movie, I say, this is not quite a horror
it's way
movie.
too smart. It's way too smart.
You know
Well,
what?
it's not horrific enough, to be quite honest, in my opinion.
Well, I
right?
think it's
Yeah.
people want a horror movie, it's too smart for them, and people who want to see the
Yeah.
smart movie, it's just too
Right.
horror for them.
It sort of reminds me, I wish I could remember, because it had that long title, the vampire movie you did about the,
Oh yeah,
the-
that's Quebec.
right,
Yeah.
the one about the humanistic.
Looking
was
for
great.
a vampire for
Suicidal.
vampire. looking for-
Okay, yeah.
Something like yeah.
Suicidal human.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Something like that.
But see, that's what I mean. See, that wasn't a horror movie to me either, but I was just as fascinated because they are talking about, especially kids in society, like how you're an outcast or this and that, and how do you belong,
Well,
Yeah.
I do take issue with you on the thing of that the Asian people running the market
Uh-huh.
is kind of from today.
Mhm.
But remember, the Chinese people were the ones who
Oh,
built
no.
the railroads.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of like the Irish, who were also a downtrodden
Mhm.
bunch of people too, right?
Yeah.
Where they were the major, right?
Yeah,
So it what was I going to say about that? Oh yeah,
The-
so they could very likely be the merchants in that time too.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not denying it.
working with the black clientele.
But I just thought that's such a weird contemporary thing that you see even now in most. Well, like I said,
think
I don't
it's
even know if that.
now.
I don't know if that's the case now. To be quite honest,
But
I
it was
just knew
interesting,
back
too.
in the 80s and 90s there really was.
But I think it's interesting how we see now, like what we might call contemporary things, but then you look in history, like the Vikings traveling to and how more connected different cultures were than we think.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
so it will make total
And
sense.
the other thing about that movie that I thought was great was the Irish vampires.
Uh-huh.
And when they did that whole dance,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
Irish, what they do with
The
that.
Gaelic
I was like,
thing and
oh
the
my
Celtic
God.
thing.
The water
this is
dance, kind of Celtic
amazing.
dancing, yes.
Right?
And the
It was
Americana.
like-
I thought,
Right.
and so,
Yeah. Oh, the music,
I thought
exactly.
the music reminded
Yeah.
me of Oh Brother Where Art Thou. At
Right.
times.
Very, very much so.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I thought it was a really, really good movie,
Mhm.
even though it was a horror movie.
Okay.
Okay, so
Rated?
that would be you, George.
So for me, as a deep movie, I give it a 9 because
Wow.
as a horror movie, I would give it, because the vampires were not like they're a little too rough. I give it a 6.
Well, I give it a 9. I don't separate the two. It was a good, to me, horror movie, and it was a good movie, just a good movie.
Yeah, I gave this a 6.
Patty?
Well, it depends what movie we're talking about. The horror movie, I give it a 3. That's how bad I thought it was. And for the intellectual, sociological commentary they had it, I'll give that a 7.
Oh, okay.
All right then,
So there we go. So
we'll be back.
we
They needed a Jerry Dandridge vampire. That's why. Smooth.
I'll be back.
Okay.
we'll be back. And remember to like us, subscribe, all that stuff. Buy us coffee. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.